Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles. Circumflexes sent me another replay, and when he does I tend to sit up and pay attention because they're usually good. This one has it all. Scumbag teammates, douchebag enemies, suicidal artillery, top tier heavy tanks who finish the battle with 0 damage done, and one player who, outside of his own platoon mates, finishes the game with more damage done than the rest of his entire team combined. And then it all ends with a mystery surprise plot twist ending. This is Circumflexes in a 3-man platoon. He's platooned up with Snooze and the Aimless. They're in an E50M and the T110E5, and they're on the Winter Ruinberg map. And things start going wrong pretty much immediately. Although unusually for a game of World of Tanks, it does take a full 62 seconds before somebody starts behaving like a spoiled, angry 4-year-old child. Have a look at the way the team are deploying on the map. Everybody's heading into the town. Well, with the exception of 2 tanks. The 2 light tanks, the T49 and the AMX 1390, are both doing a spotting run at the village and the crossroads over on the eastern end of the map, which is fantastic and, generally speaking, something that light tanks should do at the early stage of the battle here on Winter Ruinberg. However, it helps if there's actually somebody behind you to shoot up that massive targets that you've spotted, and, well, there isn't. And the 1390 is about to die. There he goes. Likewise, the T49 is doomed. He's basically going to get one shot off, do 65 damage, and then die. And right about now, there it is. The T92, top tier artillery on the team, starts calling everybody noobs. T71 over there, unusually for somebody playing an online tank shooter game, doesn't like getting shot at, and is going to make his objections known to Circon's E50M in chat any second now. There it is. The T49's number is just about up, there it goes, and the T92, any second now, is going to turn around, point his gun into a wall, fire high explosive, and kill himself. There you go, suiciding artillery. It's not a game of World of Tanks without a scumbag being a scumbag, but this scumbag is now going to start calling his team pathetic. No sense of self-awareness whatsoever. The other artillery, the Su-14-2, he can see what's coming, but he's not doing anything about it. He's, oh, well, he's dead as well. Well, at least he didn't suicide. At least he sat there waiting, hoping to get a shotgun off, and at least do some damage to the enemy before they overran his position. But now the entire eastern end of the map is just gone. And a full third of the team is dead, and they haven't killed one enemy tank yet. So, Circumflexes fires at the lower plate of the E100, but he's angled, and it bounces. His tracks get blown off, which is always welcome. Friendly E100, look at this guy. This E100, well, not that E100, he actually does some damage. This E100 finishes the match with 0 damage done. How can that happen in a top tier heavy tank? Well, you keep driving around a corner sideways in front of another E100, that's how. There we go, 0 damage done again. Circon gets his first kill. That's the first enemy tank dead. They're losing 6-1. Now, Snooze in the E5 has taken some damage, but he's putting plenty of return fire into that Lorraine. The T32 up there is actually so far the only person who is doing any damage whatsoever to Circumflexes. And he's penetrating an E50M, an angled E50M from the front. He's almost certainly firing gold ammunition, which, yeah, I don't, it's not really an issue. He's in a tier 8 heavy tank after all. The T32 is a good tank, but it's a very good tank at tier 8. In a tier 10 battle, the penetration on its gun pretty much means that if you're fighting enemy tier 10s from the front, you pretty much have to use gold. So the T32 did what he could, but the Lorraine's pulled back to reload, and the 2 tier 10s charged him down. He was never going to survive. T54E1 puts a shot into the side. Circon saw him just in time, angled and bounced it. Plants another one into the T71, who's now caught between a rock and a hard place, kills him, and then he presumably raid quits out of the game, because remember, the T71 is the guy who plays online shooters and doesn't like getting shot at. Now, T54E1. There's one. Checks what's behind him. He's in danger of getting outflanked there, and remember that Lorraine is reloading behind him somewhere. Bounces another one from the T54E1, and then Snooze finishes him off, and there's the Lorraine. He's reloaded and he finishes off Snooze. Circon's taken some shots from the front, he's taken shots from the rear. You've got to get out of here. This was exactly what you didn't want to happen. He gets his tracks blown off, immediately repairs it, continues charging down this Lorraine, trying to get out of line of fire of the tanks behind him. Kills the Lorraine. Can't stop for breath because There's a Skoda T50 in front of him, who blows off his tracks before he can reload. The T50 starts backing off. Zircon checks behind him. WZ-132, bang, got him. Turns around, T50 still backing off. Gives him a chance to reload and finish this fella off. Meanwhile, the Centurion Mark 7 is the first person on the team, other than Circumflexes, to actually kill anything, just in time for Zircon to get his 6th kill and earn the Top Gun medal. And then this is the point where it should have all gone horribly wrong. He bounces the shot from the T110E4. Almost 300mm of penetration on that gun. And this is not a bad T110E4 player. Up until this point, this guy has done 3,500 damage. He's got a mark of mastery on his gun barrel. I know for a fact that and I suspect many of you as well, if we'd been in this E50M at this point of this game, this is where we would have died, because we would have panicked. Which is exactly what's happening to the T110E4. That's the only possible explanation I can give for why he misses and bounces every single shot he fires at Circumflex's E50M here. And Circumflexes doesn't panic, and that's what makes him a great player, because he came around the corner in a one-shot situation against a tank destroyer that has 750 average damage and almost 300mm of penetration on its gun. And I don't think anybody would disagree if I was to say that he made that E4 look like a complete noob. And the E4 is not a noob, but that's what happens when you panic. And there's some bold words in chat there from the enemy T54 player. He's been a good sport about it, but he's saying, GG Circon, but now of course I have to kill you. Ah, you think so, do you? Well, you talk the talk. Let's see if you walk the walk. Oh, there he is. Oh, but first we're just going to kill this T62A. Put a shot into him, set him on fire, expends a premium fire extinguisher, and Circon rams him to death anyway. Thank you for the Radley Walters medal. Now then, Mr. T54, you were talking about killing me. You're about to get your chance. T54 was pulled right back. Now you'll notice that the IS-7 is capping at the moment. What the T54 is actually trying to do was sucker Circon out into the road so the IS-7 could get a flanking shot into him, but it didn't quite work out as planned. The IS-7 is no longer capping, so too late he comes out of the cap circle. Circon spots him, angles up, side scrapes around the corner. The IS-7 just puts one through his turret front. Circon abandons that position. He keeps moving to make it more difficult for artillery. Knows he can beat the IS-7's reload. Pins him in place there. Takes cover behind this wrecked tank. Artillery fires and misses. This is why he keeps moving. There's the shot. IS-7 can't do anything about it. Bang. There's his 9th kill. And the next artillery also fires and misses. Now it's just Circumflexes on a fraction of health against 2 enemy artillery. 1 more kill for a Pools medal, 2 more kills for an epic win, and a Colin Banoff's medal. All he has to do now is find and kill the artillery. Which is going to be easier said than done. Let's not forget, he's on a fraction of health, and high-tier artillery like this, well, not just high-tier artillery, most artillery doesn't even have to hit you in order to kill you. And actually finding the little buggers is going to be a bit of a challenge, because despite the fact that they're the size of big, angry houses, you've got a better chance of finding Jack Nicholson at the Betty Ford clinic than you do of finding World of Tanks artillery hiding behind a rose bush. This is the kind of situation where having sixth sense on your commander can be invaluable, because while you don't know where the artillery is, your commander will let you know when the artillery can see you. And there's the M40. And he hasn't seen Circon, which means he's probably making a run for the cap. Circon earns himself his Pools medal. If he'd been in a Soviet tier 10 medium, he wouldn't have had the alpha damage to one-shot that guy. He's lit up now for the T92, hides behind the building. Hang on a minute, it's a T92. They don't even have to hit you to kill you, do they? And the T92 didn't actually hit him. The T92 hasn't actually hit anything this entire game. He's missed it by about 3 meters, but, well, when you've got a gun that fires ammunition that has a splash radius of a minimum of 8 meters, you don't need to hit anything to ruin their day. Well, shit. Hey, do you want to see something really depressing? Look at this. Ace Tanker, Pools medal, crucial contribution, high caliber, Top Gun, defeat. It's just not good enough, is it? Results like this, I mean, I'm not kidding myself that I would ever be good enough to get a result like this, but results like this are the reason why I just don't have the temperament to live stream World of Tanks. If I got a result like this, I wouldn't be able to continue streaming. I'd have to get up, go away, and destroy something. This is why I've got nothing but respect for live streamers like Circumflexers, like Quickie Baby, who get games like this and just keep going because they've got an audience to entertain. I know I just wouldn't be able to do it. Although maybe watching me rage and curse would that's probably where the entertainment value would lie if I ever went back to live streaming World of Tanks. But yeah, no, don't hold your breath. It's not going to happen anytime soon. Have a look at these battle results. Circumflexers came within a whisker of doing 9,000 damage in this game, and it just wasn't enough, was it? He clearly has to carry harder than that if he wants to be good at World of Tanks. But have a look at the damage the rest of his team did. If you discount the two members of his platoon, Snooze and the Aimless, Circon did more damage than the rest of his team combined. And if you include the two members of his platoon, the entire team only did 1,100 damage more than he did. There's an E100 there that did nothing. An E100, a tier 10 heavy tank. He fired 4 shots and one of those missed. They were all at point blank range. But he was the guy at the beginning that we saw driving sideways on, out in front of a Lorraine, a T32 and another E100, so, well, that's a fairly predictable result for him. And the lone survivor of the battle, the enemy T92, there he is. He fired 6 shots in that game, not one of them hit the target, and the only shot he fired that made any difference whatsoever was the last one that killed Circumflexers, robbed him of a Kolobanov's medal, and won the game for the enemy team. Props, by the way, to the enemy T54 player, who wasn't just a good sport and had a good sense of humour, but he also played really well. He did, well, there you go, 4,000 damage of his own and finished top on the winning team. And also Camembert 07, the T110E4, that ran into Circumflexers in a one-on-one, panicked, lost his shit, and ended up looking like a complete fool. But he's not. He's actually a pretty good player. And he did 3,500 damage of his own. But this is what happens when you run into Rockstar World of Tanks players with no backup. You tend to lose your shit. And then lose all your health as well. But it just wasn't enough, was it, Circon? You'd have gotten away with it too, if it wasn't for that meddling artillery. And if there's one statistic on the final screen here that tells you everything you need to know about how mind-bogglingly shit his team was, it's the spotting damage. How many times did you see him spotting targets, immobilizing targets, blowing their tracks off, and how much assistance damage did he get from the team? Nothing. Not 1 point of assistance damage. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Diddly squat. He pretty much had to do it all himself, at least, well, once Snooze and the T110E5 died, he definitely did. So, Circumflexers, I don't know how you managed to keep on trucking after a result like that, but, well, you're clearly made of sterner stuff than I am. Thank you for sending that replay in. It was physically painful to watch. But thank you for sending it in anyway, and I hope you never have a game like that again. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching it anyway. That's it for today, folks. As always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.